Are you good?
I'm good.
Oh, I wasn't
I'm
sure.
rolling.
It's just like, you just sit there like...
Oh, I thought you were setting stuff up.
You just sit there like a Marcus, and I don't know.
I try to do it differently, but it never comes out right. Comes out like Marcus being something else. You know how, like, if you crossbreed a corgi with any other dog, you get a dog that looks like a corgi dressed up as the other breed of dog. That's what happens when I try to sit here like something other than a Marcus.
I feel like we should apologize in advance because out of the goodness of your heart, you agreed to record this very early in the morning instead of our normal time because I was off gallivanting last night. I don't know what that word means, but I was
gallivanting.
But I should warn everyone that you're going to get morning Jason now.
Oh,
instead of normal.
Got a case of the morning Jasons.
Oh, it's just normal Jason. This is myself who is not meant to be experienced by most.
This is raw, unrefined Jason.
It's just morning. Yeah, remember, I don't usually like dealing with people until about 11 a.m.
That's true. So it's great that we're recording this.
Exactly. So. There you have it.
I'm actually new to the thing is my coffee consumption as well.
Oh, like you don't consume
usually
coffee
not.
this early in the morning, or?
No, I do. I just don't usually consume coffee on the show. So we'll see what happens there.
No, well, yeah, me too. So I hope I'm actually a little nervous about drinking, of course, from my product placement mug.
Hey, look at that! Here with the magic at herewiththemagic.com.
This was Michelle's idea. But I'm a little nervous because I'm a little afraid of burning my lips.
Uh-oh. Like right
and you know, once you burn your lips, well, I think I can cover it. But I just don't like when you burn your tongue or your mouth, because then the rest of the day is just ruined.
Yeah, and you feel it like for a couple of days. Like and sometimes I'll get them. And I don't know where they came from. It's just like today, I feel like I burned the roof of my mouth on something yesterday. Like this isn't actual true, but that's a case in point is a situation like that where it's like I burned my mouth on something yesterday and I can't figure out what it is, and it's bugging the crap out of me today. And especially if you do like your lip or whatever, because then you end up like goofing with it all day.
Stop touching it.
with your tongue and stuff.
Stop touching it. Stop touching it.
Yeah. And then you'll inevitably like bite your own. Like I've been on this earth for 47 years. I've eaten.
Where were you before that?
It's hard to say. It's a lot like you gallivanting last night. I don't remember a lot, but the point is that you would think averaging more than twice a day that I eat things for 47 years, you would think that I would eventually be so good at it that I wouldn't accidentally chew my own flesh.
No, because stuff shifts. Stuff shifts up there. Or down there. I don't know where I'm supposed to be. But it's no. The same thing happens to me, and then and I've complained to my dentist about it before, and I think they just ignore me.
They must, because I'm the same way, and I don't understand it. Like I said, I've done this for a long time. I've done eating more than I've done almost any other skill that I have.
Well, I mean, I don't want to brag or anything,
in and out is probably the one thing I've done more.
Beating my heart. I think that, number one, it's not always something that you, in terms of burning the roof of your mouth, it's not always something that burns the roof of your mouth. For example, and I know we've talked about cereal before, so I won't belabor the point.
Oh, cereal. Yes, we can talk about the lacerations that cereal can cause.
I think the most dangerous cereal on earth, and by dangerous, I mean it's both damaging as well as like attracting. Like there's something compulsive about it, something desirable about it, to the point that you will sometimes be willing to damage your mouth. And that
the siren's call on this particular cereal,
right? And there's a few of them, but I think the king of them is Captain Crunch.
Thank you very much. I was going to say Captain Crunch. That's like eating a bunch of Ninja stars. It's
but delicious.
But delicious.
Like the best Ninja stars you've ever had in your mouth.
The delicious clan of Ninja has assaulted your mouth.
I don't know what it is about it, but it clearly is not just me.
No, absolutely not. And Captain, like, I don't know what they do with those. There's little, like, I guess they're supposed to be barrels or something. It seems like they're supposed to be something, but I don't know what about those in particular, because they kind of taste like corn pops that are like on crack, but something about, I don't know, the shape or the amount of like sugar glaze on them or what, but they really
Look at you
do
breaking out the big words this early in the morning. Sugar glaze.
That's, scientific cereology here.
I don't know what those little things are. I think that they
look purposefully made into a particular shape.
Oh, sure.
I'm assuming they're nautical in some way.
Yeah, I don't.
They kind of look like those floats that
like barrels.
They remind me of those things that Roy Scheider and what's his name at the end of Jaws when they're paddling back home, and they've got the two they're like hanging onto the floats or whatever.
And that is how your mouth
Richard
feels.
Dreyfuss.
That is how your mouth feels, as if it's been attacked by Jaws.
By a friggin' shark, yeah, absolutely. Or that somebody has thrown a scuba tank into your mouth and then shot it with a gun.
Wikipedia is not helpful in this regard. It just says the original Captain Crunch cereal is made of sweetened yellow square-shaped cereal pieces.
Those aren't squares.
Yeah, because there's too much. Too much effort went into making sure they actually weren't squares.
Yeah, there's like ridges. There's like two like sort of indentations on them that make them look like. That's why I think there's something specific, because those little contours or whatever.
Yeah,
I
feel like whoever's updating this Wikipedia page just doesn't care enough.
They need to get their wiki license revoked.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's lazy. Is what that is.
I don't know what those little things are, but they are delicious, and they will mess up your mouth pretty seriously. Actually,
yeah,
and I always thought it was maybe me, like maybe the way that I eat it, maybe the way I'm like savoring it or something. Maybe I'm pressing it unnecessarily into the roof of my mouth.
I don't know that that's avoidable, though. I mean, I guess you could. I mean, you'd have to end up doing like some serious chipmunk action where you like jam it all into your cheek, and then sort of do like a shredding machine and just like chomp it until it goes into the middle of your mouth as it comes in, and all of the raw uneaten ones are just in your. But I bet you anything that would erode the hell out of the inside of your cheek.
I feel like we should have tried this out. We should have been prepared for this and brought some cereal.
That's true. This is a total off the cuff kind of topic, but this may
go see if
this may warrant some.
I don't think there's any Captain Crunch out there.
Experimentation here.
I'll tell you some others that will mess the roof of your mouth up. I think that Cookie Crisp? Cookie Crisp?
Cookie Crisp
is that a cereal? Cookie Crisp?
Yeah.
They like shaped like little, or they're like
they're like flat on one side and curved on the other.
Yeah.
Weirdly.
I think that'll do it, unless you let them soften up. But there's a very small window where they're like soft
Captain
enough.
Crunch is that way too.
They're not going to mess your mouth up, but not so soft that they're just mush.
Okay, I take that back. I think with Captain Crunch, it has to be roof of mouth laceration crunchy in order to be pleasant, because as soon as they become soft and gooey, it goes immediately to like zero.
Right.
Like,
I'll tell you, some safe cereals that seem to like last long enough. They don't become disappointments in the bowl. Mm-hmm. Cocoa Pebbles. Or fruity Pebbles.
Cocoa Pebbles.
Fruity Pebbles are good too.
I have 2 boxes up there right now.
Oh, see, you are prepared for this.
Some Cocoa Pebbles.
Fruity Pebbles also. So Fruity Pebbles I rediscovered, and I was not a Fruity Pebbles child. I was a Cocoa Pebbles child when I could get away with getting them. Oh, I had a friend who I've spoken about these formerly Greek people.
Yes, that's right, Reformed Greeks.
And they taught me how to eat Cocoa Pebbles properly, which I still don't. I don't do it this way because it's just too much work. But they would heat milk up on the stove top.
Heat it up.
They would heat the milk up on a stovetop,
Wow.
warm the milk, and then they'd use warm milk in the Cocoa Pebbles, and that is like the nectar of gods. I mean, that is incredible. It's incredible. I want it now. That's what I want.
Slightly on that vein is I do like when the dishwasher has just gotten done and it's done the heaty thing to try to dry off the dishes, and you grab one of those sort of hot bowls and then put the Cocoa Pebbles in there, and that's pretty good. But I hadn't ever really thought about like purposefully heating the milk.
Oh yeah,
that's a new thing here.
That would be a conduction-based heating of
It would be
of
conduction-based
the milk.
heating, right? Rather than induction. Yeah.
Right, rather than convection,
and rather than
radiation. Right?
Well, I don't know.
If you hit it in the microwave,
bowl is radiating heat.
No, but I mean, like in terms of like energy, waves of it, like that.
Right, I got
right.
you. It's like you said, if you do microwave,
that's my microwave. That's my symbol for microwave. Yes.
Radiation.
I don't know if I have
that was going to be the international symbol of it, but they decided to go with the other thing.
And then, Kramer stole it. He did that whole thing in Seinfeld. Anyway, so getting back to Cocoa Pebbles, Fruity Pebbles. I recently rediscovered Fruity Pebbles. I didn't really eat them much as a child, but I had them every once in a while. I liked them, but I wasn't like I have to have Fruity Pebbles.
Right.
But there was a conversation about scents with our good friend Lisa Denota Glassner, and
friend of the show,
Core Memory Candles. We'll give a little plug there because they're wonderful. And
I have 3 of them on my desk right now.
Chump. Sucker.
Well, she keeps making good candles, and so what the hell am I supposed to do?
I've asked her to stop taking my money.
Knock it off. Make one that smells like crap.
Stop taking my money.
And I'll buy that one, and then
So I did. So there was conversation about what is the smell inside of Flight of Passage when you go into the cave. Not the smell that you get like when you're out over the ocean, because we know what that is. That's the same scent that's in Grand Floridian and so forth. But when you go into the cave where there's like the weird glowing things, I don't know. There's a technical term for it, I'm sure. But James Cameron wouldn't come on the show to describe it, so here we are.
As much as we try to get him to.
That's true. Which we didn't at all.
Return our calls.
Well, we didn't. I think he would return our call before he'd finish Avatar 2.
Well, it was that weird voicemail that you did and the fake French accent. I think that.
And the discussion of the papyrus. I think I offended him with the papyrus.
You may have
discussion, font discussion. So
I thought it was clever.
So what is the scent when you go into the cave? And I told her immediately, I think she was like working on it, and I said it's Fruity Pebbles. It's Fruity Pebbles.
I'd have to go on it again now with that in mind.
And she was like, wait, like what? So as it so happens, she was able to source a Fruity Pebbles oil to try. She also got a Fruit Loops one as well, because they are similar.
Similar, yeah.
And
Fruit Loops, now that's a bit more of a laceration-y kind of cereal, though.
It also gets soggy fast. I mean, it's like it's like the
half-life. And they
life.
expand, and they look like they're scary.
They do. I'm telling you, the scent is Fruity Pebbles, or it's like halfway between Fruity Pebbles and Fruit Loops. And I've been on the attraction relatively recently. We of course are talking about Flight of Passage in Disney's Animal Kingdom for those of you who don't know, which is one of the best attractions ever created by Imagineering. Disney
it's
Imagineering.
Fantastic.
And it's pretty sure it's Fruity Pebbles, or like halfway between Fruity Pebbles and Fruit Loops. Yeah,
next time I write that, I'm gonna have to have that in mind, because
it's more difficult now with the masks.
Yeah, true.
So
I might like. Kind of.
You gotta keep your hands. No, you can't let go of the. You're gonna fall off the banshee.
Then that's true, and I'll fall in the water.
Isn't that what they're called? Banshees, I think.
Yeah. Mountain banshees, I believe, implying that there might be some plains banshees out there.
Isn't that what those things were called that you would ride in Halo?
Yeah, that's the flying machine. The big
So do you
one.
think they got that word from that game?
I doubt it. I think they got it probably from the actual like phantom screaming ghost thing.
I think they got it from Halo.
Probably so. You're right.
I mean, he's not very
and they had
original.
battle mechs and everything. So
he's not a very creative guy.
Yeah, Avatar, I would say, is purposefully derivative.
Purposely derivative. I like that. In evolution, there is a term for things. Have we talked about this before? There's a term for things that evolve. They're like co-occurring, but they evolve separately into the same thing. So animals, for example, that you'll find in like disparate parts of the world, like way far away. There's like zero chance, even with plate tectonics and stuff, there's like zero chance that they were ever together, nor could they fly there. But they somehow evolved like
two independent versions of
there's a word
the same
for that.
Animal.
There's a word for it. I don't remember what it is.
I'm sure there is.
This is welcome to early Jason Brain. Early Jason Brain.
So, like, what would be? Do you have an example of that, or
no?
Like, is there an Australian version of the chipmunk? He's got like 6-inch fangs and is venomous.
Is it not enough?
Because Australia.
Is it not enough that I know that it happens?
It is not, sir. Intellectual pursuits must always be hounded to the ends of the earth.
Well, I'm going to look it up for you as we speak. Co-occurring evolution, because I don't know what else to call it. And now I'm only seeing co-occurring disorders. That's a different conversation about myself.
Yeah.
And I
we've
think
touched on that one too.
No, I think there's some kind of like. I just want to say dingo. It's not a dingo. There's some sort of things out there.
I remember in Star Trek there was like the original series. There was, I can't remember who it's a person's name, but it was somebody's theory of parallel evolution.
Oh, I found it. Okay.
And it was the reason that the planet that Miri was on looked exactly like Earth.
And you just know what it is. So you said parallel. So there is. Right, there's divergent evolution, which is what most people think of when they think of evolution. Yeah. There's convergent evolution, which
things
is
evolve together toward the same thing.
Yeah, like whales and fish. They have similar characteristics.
Okay, so they all evolve like fins and.
Well, but they have different sources, right? They come from different tracks, but then they
because they're in the same environment, they evolve the same features.
Correct. Parallel evolution is what you were talking about, which is when two species evolve independently of each other, maintaining the same level of similarity. And they usually occur between unrelated species that do not occupy the same or similar niches in a given habitat. Now, you're wondering, okay, well, what are some examples of parallel evolution?
Jason, whatever would be an example of these things?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I wish you would ask a little slower, though.
As a example of the thing that we are talking about right now currently.
Yes. Well, for example, marsupial mammals of Australia are one example. And
are you showing that to me? Because I don't.
No, I'm not showing it to you. I'm just saying that they have morphological resemblances to other things. So
that is true.
Dude,
are you talking about morphological differences?
Yeah, of course. So moles. Oh, here's another one. That's weird. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
It's rapidly devolved.
I can't.
Speaking
it's just
of
like, why is this so difficult to find? Like, I could find anything I wanted to know about Captain Crunch except what the shape of the cereal is. But this is so difficult.
In the defense of in your defense, the information was woefully inadequate on Captain Crunch.
Well, thanks for bringing that back.
Well, no, not for any fault of your own, but they did actually say that the Crunch, the cereal was square, which we both know is totally wrong.
Yes. I think we're gonna have to come back to this one because it's just too dense for my brain to process this early in the morning. And like, it's taking me to like Britannica.com. And I'm sorry to our British friends out there, but like, I don't even know.
Yeah, it's a little early for Britannica. Yeah.
I don't even know if Britannica's British. I assume it is because it's Britannica.
Britain is right there in the name. Right?
But I think we'll have to come back to this.
That was a boat, right?
I think we may have to post
Titanic and Britannic.
Yeah, they're good at nothing.
Maybe it's about the boat.
It's
the encyclopedia of that boat. There's also Encyclopedia Titanica.
There's YouTube videos about it, but I'm not going to turn those on right now. House. I think we're going to have to talk about this on our Facebook page. I think that's what we're going to have to go back there.
That's a much better
we're gonna need
venue
to get some
for
help
science
from people smarter than me.
Surely we have an evolutionary scientist in the listenership right now. Surely. I'm sure they're screaming at the
airplane
radio.
Yeah, that's what they're using is radio. They're using a radio.
Whatever.
You know what's funny though, is that isn't it so like you're an above average intelligence person.
Well, thank you. And
I mean, there's a bit of hubris involved anytime you think of call yourself an above average anything, right? Like because you're basically saying you're smarter than most people, right, or better at something than most people. All right.
Well, it's all about perspective. I mean, we know that the brain is the most important thing in the human body, but then what's telling us that? Our brain. Of course, it's going to say that.
Britannica.
So anyway,
you think there's like this brain? You think there's a brain conspiracy to like celebrate that particular organ over all the other systems in the?
Well, no, it's just the brain is the thing that makes us know things, and it's going to go like, but the brain is the most important.
But here's the thing,
because
like
it's the brain.
But it's also, I believe, true that the human gut, not just human gut, but other guts too. But we'll talk about we'll stick to our species.
Intestinal tracts
contains lots of neurons of its own. In fact, there's more neurons in the human digestive tract than are in the cat's brain. I think that's true.
Is cat's brain like that? Exceedingly high neuron density?
I don't know. It's just a damn comparison.
It's just an interesting sort of arbitrary. More than a cat's brain.
Yeah. Well, it's like when people say, the pandemic killed
a marmot's spleen.
The pandemic killed like almost as many people as live in Birmingham, Alabama. And I'm trying to think like, I feel like the number was actually more comprehensible when you just told me like the 180-some thousand as opposed to telling me Birmingham, because I've never been there.
Got nuked.
Most people are inside. I can't picture like the number of people in Birmingham. Anyway, so cat's brain.
I've been to Birmingham. It's a nice town.
Apparently, is the appropriate reference.
And I wouldn't like for all of those people to die.
And also that is, I believe that is also like one of the main sources, I think, of serotonin production.
Was your intestinal tract?
Yeah. So like a lot of problems with gut health end up affecting mental health.
Yeah, I actually just heard something on that where they do the whole, I mean, this is exceedingly disgusting, but the whole
poop transplants. Yeah, poop transplants.
Is what was it that they just found that helps with something?
All sorts of things.
Well, yeah, but like something brand new that just didn't seem like it would have had any should have affected it all. Rats. I can only remember it's like alcoholism or something. It's very interesting what's going on with that particular leg of science.
There's a small group of people, and this will get back to my original point. There's a small group of people who are screaming at their device right now because they know the truth. Yeah. And this is my point.
And we are frustratingly not doing the truth.
This is my point. So like there's that experience where depending on which social circle you're in, you can talk about things like this. Just knowing that parallel evolution exists, especially if you can name it, like that is sufficient to prove your intelligence.
Right.
Like, because people around you are like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. I think I know what evolution is, but I don't know what. So, and they're not going to ask for any additional clarifying information. Right. So you're good.
Right. Yeah.
And then you encounter other people who actually know a thing or two, and then they start like you did to a certain extent. Like you start saying, "Oh, well, that's parallel evolution," blah blah blah. And like, can you give me some examples? I'm like, well, no, because now I've run out. Like I've reached the point. You understand? Like I had a cocktail party level understanding of this issue,
right?
Like, and now you're asking me to have like a dinner party level understanding, and this is not.
Well, interesting.
We've reached beyond my ability.
You could set up a whole spectrum of how well you know a subject based on what kind of party
the context
is it sufficient for.
That's right. How many people are at the table?
Are there any professionals in this thing?
I don't know that always matters, honestly, because I mean, unless you're going to go
charity gala dinner. I'm
set. No, I'm set for the charity gala dinner because you can always you can detach. You can make your escape if you need to, like
And if nothing else, you can just sort of. Sort of bluff by putting some of that really dry chicken that they always serve at those things in your mouth and go, I would talk. But
right. Remember, my brain, I think we've talked about this before. Like I am terrible with names. I'm terrible with, I mean, it's going to sound like I'm an idiot, but I'm bad with, coming up with the names of things. So it doesn't matter what's the name of a person, or the name of a flower, or the name of a,
so it's not just human names,
concept or something.
Names.
It's just naming things. But I do remember like the essence of them and the kind of story behind them, and I can describe the thing. I just can't tell you what it's called.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you on that.
I'm loaded up with that kind of stuff. But
what's unfortunate is that when you can't come up with the name and you can just describe it, you really sound like you don't know what you're talking about. But you do know what you're talking about.
You sound like an idiot.
You're not coming up with the title of the thing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Even if it's something you know deeply, and really well, it doesn't. You just sound like an idiot.
Now, in your defense earlier about my apparent dinner party level knowledge of evolution, the thing that I was quoting was a goofy thing from Star Trek. It wasn't actually a real thing.
But goofy stuff from Star Trek is actually based in real stuff because
we're talking about the original series here. So, I mean, as still my favorite, don't get me wrong, but not as really for real science based as perhaps the Next Generation was. Because who wanted that in 60s television?
Much better to have like aliens making out with other aliens.
Yeah, perhaps.
No.
Yeah. But I will say that Star Trek: The Motion Picture had as their technical consultant Isaac Asimov. So they, when they made that leap to movies, they were like, okay, we better science this up now.
Anyway, I don't want to bore people.
I think it's too late for that. We've already had our awkwardly Google Wikipedia section of the show.
Thought we were not going to return to Star Trek conversation, and yet here we are.
Well,
again.
Unfortunately, this show has me as part of it, so Star Trek's going to come up at some point.
But I think that in any event, I don't really remember how we got to parallel evolution, other than I know we were talking about
Serials.
Banshees and James Cameron.
I think maybe that was it. Yeah, the Banshee, and did it come from the flying thing in Halo?
Oh no, I remember because what the thought in my head was like, did he develop this idea for using a Banshee separate from did he actually bring take it from some understanding of what banshees were in mythology, or did he just get it because he knew his friend or a kid or something was playing Halo?
Yeah,
and so that's cool. They ride around these banshees.
Could be either one, really. Yeah,
right. I mean, it is derivative to us either way. It's derivative.
Yeah, and
but whether it's derivative of a more original source or not is the question.
I think that it's, if I remember correctly, they make it kind of clear in the ride that the Na'vi don't actually call them banshees; they call them something else. I think.
Because they don't speak English.
Well, granted, but they,
they call them something like.
Is that how they speak? Like a world music rhythm section. They can't speak unless they're actually holding bongos.
That's like the. I think that was a Navi drowning. Is what the sound I just made.
That did sound like a Navi drowning. That was very good.
Or choking on.
Next time we call James Cameron, you should do that.
If you ever want a Navi choking on Captain Crunch, I got that sound for you, buddy.
I'm going to do an impression for you. It's a little esoteric.
I was. This is gonna sound. I'm gonna embarrass myself all over again. But so when I was in my 1 year of law school, I was in criminal law and criminal law class, and they were talking about. I don't even remember what the subject was anymore, other than criminal law, but like specifically. I don't know. We were talking about defenses or what, but I likened something. I thought something was like similar to the Bugs Bunny episode where he was pleading, oh, please don't throw me in the dark hole. Please don't throw me in the kind of briar patch kind of thing.
Dark, yeah, it was basically the briar patch thing. Yeah.
Right. And so and then I was mocked openly by the professor for basically not referencing
Song of the South.
Right.
Oh.
Now, nowadays, I'd actually come back with one. Well, I wasn't going to bring up that racist piece. Of right. But at that point, it was like, yeah, of course, this is like what's wrong with our country now is that these, you don't even know the classical reference kind of thing. It's like, and I felt like.
Well, now, hang on a minute. When was Song of the South written?
Oh, well, before
because Bugs Bunny Bugs Bunny cartoons go way back.
I'm pretty sure Song of the South was not derivative of.
Well, I'm not saying that, but it could have been parallel evolution.
I don't think so. That's the thing. And so, but I was like, and here's the I believe that most people in the class at the time, because again, getting to law school is one of those experiences where, at least where I was, I felt like, in undergrad, I was usually kind of one of the smarter people in the room. At least I did better than most others. But you get to law school and then you're like, oh, I'm actually not that smart. Like I'm actually surrounded with people. I'm lucky if I'm like I'm lucky if I'm in like the bottom half. And so, but now I think back on it and I don't think anybody else understood what the heck she was talking about anyway. In fact, most people probably understood my Bugs Bunny reference better than a Song of the South reference. Right. And so then it got that, I don't know, it made me think about that when I was thinking about James Cameron, and like, is it bad that if he did take the idea of the Banshees from,
it's like a second hand sort of,
is that bad? I don't think so.
I mean, everybody gets it. I mean, do
you have to, you don't always have to go back to the original source as long as you.
Yeah, I know that's a certain amount of like weird reference purism that I don't think. You get into some certain things like law professors, for instance, that would be sanctimonious enough to get all cheesed off about that.
I also, she was not, she actually stopped calling on me at one point, and my buddies like gave her a hard time for it. They would actually start raising their hands. So
I yield my time to Jason.
And that's literally what they would do. It was like, he has a question. And it was all after this incident we had where I went round and round with her publicly about at the time, remember, this is either 99 or 2000. And I made this point because we were talking about, this was certainly about defenses. And of course, at the time there was like what's it called? Like the donut defense or something like that, which is that the person's so hyped up on sugar that was that a thing? Oh yeah, it was totally a thing.
Like you can defend yourself by saying I was on a sugar high?
Well, the idea, it gets back to this idea of like where does weird. The mens rea begin? Like when is intent? When is it actually something that you did, purposefully, as opposed to you were just kind of under the control of something else? And that's, in criminal law, there are all sorts of defenses related to mental health. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was arguing, I went back to this kind of the root of it. And I said, well, like, you know, everything that we do in life is either rooted in our genetic predisposition, so like the way we're hardwired to like process information, and our collective, our aggregated experiences. And our experiences, like in the beginning of our life, they're not chosen by us. They just happen to us. And we're born into these situations that were not of our choosing, are not of our control. And so by the time you actually are even at an age where you can begin to make some decisions about, like, you know, the environment that you're in and the people you're around and that sort of thing, you're already pretty baked.
Yeah, your programming's laid in pretty good.
So if that's the case, you know, that's sort of the logical...
Is anybody responsible for anything?
Right. And with enough information, for example, like with a large enough data set, could you it's sort of like predicting weather for the next week, right? With a large enough data set, could you accurately predict decisions and actions of individuals, given a certain known things? Okay. Because if you're going to say that, oh, well, this person has like this disorder or whatever condition, and therefore that is a defense to something that they did, why could you not back it up even further? Like she wouldn't have no part of it, because it was like, well, because the whole justice system becomes unhinged at that point and becomes
exactly. It's like in philosophy, the guy going, what if we're all just brains in jars and some evil genius is making us believe that reality is reality and it's not? I think, therefore I am. I can only prove my own existence because I'm the one that said I am, but I can't prove anything else exists in the world. I mean, at that point, it becomes pretty useless to argue.
There was more
stuff.
there. Well, but I think there was. Well, thanks. See, that was her point back, and I was like, well, you're just intellectually devoid. Anyway, so I said to her, it matters because you can still deal with it, because in a justice system that says, like, we don't know why this happened, but we can't allow it to happen again.
Yeah.
Right. Like in a reform based system, like you can still allow for that sort of thing, but you don't punish the person because like that, as if they intended to do something.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That was.
Then it becomes like, what is the purpose of the punishment for this crime? Is it to penalize them, or is it to reform them? Thinking
of crime as like, just like the person didn't intend to have cancer, they didn't intend to, do this thing. That's the idea. Now, I know it's very controversial, but I can tell you over the past 20 years, that stuff has become more and more important.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is nuts to think about just what effect like brain chemistry has on different people. If you've got too much of one chemical or another, I mean, all of it is just chemical reactions in your brain, right? I mean, your memories are that. Your, what you see and hear, all of that is just neurons firing and chemicals in your head. So honestly, with the right mixture of chemicals squirted into somebody's head, you can make them think that they're in Barbados on a boat, and they're actually in Alaska in a book club.
What's that disease? Going back to cats, what's that disease that you can get?
The cat poop disease, where like you suddenly become more.
That is the medical journal terminology for it.
Cat poopiosis.
Is it like trichinosis? That's what comes from. That comes from pork, I think.
Pork, yeah.
What is it?
But yeah, it's
pregnant women
sort of
are
like
supposed to. This is why all pregnant women say, like, I can't change the litter box, right? Like,
right. Because it like makes you okay with handling their poop or whatever.
Well, I mean,
it's a weird
not.
Thing.
I think it's toxoplasmosis.
Toxoplasmosis.
And it's. I think the problem is that you can pass to the unborn child, and cause miscarriage.
Yeah. And then the child becomes a cat person.
I think it just
crazy cat person.
I think it just kills them. It doesn't do anything interesting. I think that's the problem. But in cats, it makes Okay, no, it's not even in cats. It's actually in rats. I think it's passed through rats or mice. And what happens is that the parasite makes the rodent, we'll just call it rodent because I don't know whether it's a mouse or a rat, makes the rodent less afraid of predators.
So they can grab them.
Because then they get eaten, and then they
become cat poop.
Right, exactly, and then it gets eaten by the rat because that's what rodents do. They eat that stuff. It's nasty rodents.
So rats are that's cannibalism with extra steps, basically.
And so that's but the thing is that this parasite actually controls their brain. A part of their brain that changes the way that they function. And so there's stuff like that. And I think it's interesting. I think
it's neat. It was really cool.
But I'm not here to talk to you about my brain. I'm here to talk to you about cereal. Your brain on cereal. I do feel
my
like
brain on cereal
I can tell you, I do feel like crap after I've eaten like a sugar laden
one bowl,
breakfast.
or do you like slam it, like have like 3 or 4 bowls?
Oh no, I think
single
I have
bowler.
enough self-control to do the single. Well, I'm not saying it hasn't never happened. I'm not saying I haven't binged cereal before, but
well, sometimes it's just one bowl.
Sometimes, this is really, I'm letting you weigh in here. Sometimes I like to finish with a bowl of cereal, and I feel really bad about that.
Finish what?
Finish breakfast. Like it's almost like having dessert.
You've had the rest of the.
It's literally dessert.
Nutritious breakfast.
Yeah. I'll have like something. Oh yeah, I have like eggs with kale, like sautéed kale. That's one of my favorite things to make. Is like
eggs with sautéed kale.
Like a gently scrambled egg.
In the morning, I am not prepared mentally to do that level of work.
That's because I would do it for you. I will make this.
Wow,
I would make this and
I'll pour you a bowl of cereal.
Well, thank you.
That's my level of morning cuisine.
The cereal has been shown to not cause damage to the roof of the mouth.
I mean, I could eat kale, I suppose, in the morning. I wouldn't be terribly happy about it, but to go through the process of sautéing it.
Well, here's what you do.
That's not a morning thing.
That's what you do. You get your eggs, however many you want to eat, and then you add in some salt and pepper. You add in some turmeric, and you add in a little bit of cinnamon.
Ooh.
You also add in just a few dollops or more, depending on your own proclivities of sriracha sauce.
Oh yes.
And it can't just be any hot sauce. It needs to be sriracha because sriracha also has like garlic in it and other stuff that gives it some depth. All right, so you kind of whip that all up really, really well. Okay, then you set that aside for the time being, and you go and you take your pan, and preferably a nonstick pan, and you put I like to put avocado oil in it because avocado oil is not only healthy but it also has a high temp rating, so it won't burn easy. You heat that all up. Then you take your kale. Now your kale has to have been already prepared. So, and by prepared I mean you have to devein it, of course, and then you wash it, then devein it, and then you bag it.
Okay.
You bag it and you put it in the freezer.
In the freezer. Okay.
Yeah. And it's helpful if you also shred the kale a little bit first. But so then when you take it out of the freezer after it's frozen for a couple of days, you want to let it really freeze up, then you can crush it in the bag.
Okay.
And crush it, which is it's also fun to do. And then you take like a handful, just like that much, and you put it in the pan. Then you're now heated, and you saute the kale
in the avocado oil.
In the avocado oil. Then you take your mixture of what I also do, I should have said, sometimes I will add a little either heavy cream or even creme fraiche to the egg mixture, right? And whip that all up, and then pour that in over the kale.
Okay.
And then you gently kind of just start folding. Just like, the gentle folding, because I don't like it all scrambled. You kind of like the folding thing and then it's done. You just have to make sure it's at a low enough temp. It's not going to burn the egg, but high enough temp that it's actually going to cook the egg.
Gotcha.
And that's it. And it's delicious.
And then you end with a bowl of Captain Crunch.
Well, that's the thing. See, like I'm eating this like super healthy breakfast, right? Like I'm eating like eggs and kale and to get my turmeric and my cinnamon. It's good for the brain and blah, 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 all this stuff. And then you're like, would it be bad if I had like a bowl of Cocoa Pebbles? I mean,
I think I've earned it with all of this work and health, and I've actually consumed turmeric this morning. So
yeah, and then
give me a bowl.
And then it's like no, you just actually negated all of the positive.
It's kind of like carbon credits. You've earned high fructose corn syrup credits.
Except there's no
like you burn them almost immediately.
There's like no negative calorie though. That's the problem. Like it's not like it's not like we're eating celery and burning calories by eating. It's like we just add insult to injury there at that point. Sad. Yeah, so that happens sometimes, and I don't know why. Like it's like it hasn't always been a thing. It's actually been more recent that I've craved like something sweet at the end of something savory. I don't know. Maybe I have like some equivalent of toxoplasmosis or something. That
yeah, it could be.
Yeah, it's
Captain Crunch plasmosis.
It's a problem. I'm not gonna lie. So have you had blue milk?
Oh, the stuff at Galaxy's Edge? I have not. Neither blue nor green milk.
Well, we can't talk about it then. So I have had both.
But you clearly have an opinion on that. Would you recommend blue milk or green milk?
It's a divisive issue. People either love it or hate it, I think.
That's what I'm getting.
Or they tolerate it. I don't actually think I've met anyone. I don't think I've met anyone who's
all manner of opinions.
I don't think I've met anyone who was like, I love it. I can't get enough of it. I think people are like, yeah, it's fine, or they say it's terrible.
So it's terrible or it's okay. And this is.
but here's the thing: if you order it at Oga's Cantina, it comes with this cookie.
Oh yeah,
and it's so delicious.
That's the point of getting the drink, is to get the cookie. Pretty much.
Is that wrong? I mean, but
no.
That makes it like the most expensive cookie you've ever had, and I don't even know how to describe this cookie to people. It's kind of like what's the Girl Scout cookie that has like the coconut in it?
That would be the Tagalog.
The Tagalog, yeah. So I love that's my favorite.
Tagalong.
I don't know.
I don't remember. One of those is with language.
Isn't it what's the Samoa?
Oh, excuse me. No, that is the Samoa. The Tagalogs are the peanut butter ones.
We just avoid. People were like about to drive off the road with that one.
We had a little moment there of.
Yeah, so I like this. I like the Samoas. Not to be confused with a samosa, which I also really enjoy. But
now, what is a samosa? I know what a mimosa is.
What? You don't know
samosa?
You don't know what? Oh, hold on.
That was apparent by my asking.
True. I had to look it up to make sure I was saying it correctly. Samosa is like the little Indian pastry things, like the.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of in a completely different world.
Well, that's why I said why not to be confused with samosa.
Right. Well, I confused them with drinks, apparently. So I was confusing them with things that you didn't even think I was going to confuse them with.
You can have a liquid samosa. That's a good way to start the morning. Put a couple samosas in a blender.
Add a little turmeric.
Lovely. Yeah. No, it already has the turmeric.
I imagine so.
No doubt. So it's kind of like that. I don't know that it actually has coconut though in it. I don't think it does. It just has that kind of flavor profile, and it's
maybe just it does.
Wonderful.
Oh yeah, they're great.
But these little cookies that are like the samosa. The Samoa. See what you're trying to do to me? It's worth it just to get the blue milk for that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Good stuff. Cookie.
And have you been to Oga's Cantina at all?
I haven't been to the Cantina. I've been to Galaxy's Edge a million times, but there always seems to be. I never even remember necessarily that Oga's Cantina is there until it's too late to like. And
So you've never even been in?
Understand that I haven't been back to Galaxy's Edge since we have opened up again. So the reduced crowd aspect of things has not been sort of experienced by me yet. So I would imagine it's a lot easier to get into Oga's Cantina now than it was back before the lockdown, because every time I walked by there would be a line that went all the way to the Slinky Dog ride. And so I was like, maybe next time.
Well, you've always had to make
maybe next time.
I mean, I think you've had to make an ADR, which is advanced dining reservation for you non-Disney people, at the cantina. I think you've had to do that from the beginning.
There still seemed to be like a huge line. Is there also like a sort of like Viennapoli has that window that you can get food from?
There's no pizza window.
Like
no, there's no pizza window.
Well, not necessarily pizza window, but maybe a blue milk window. I don't know.
There is a blue milk like place like around the corner.
Oh, okay.
God, I sound like such a nerd. Over near the first order section. There's I don't know why it's there. That's kind of a.
I guess for people who want blue milk and don't want to go to.
It's maybe it's a zoning thing.
It can be zoning. This is zoned for milk.
It's it's the dairy zone, but not really, because I'm looking to see if like, for example, we could get Oga's today, which we probably couldn't. If we were going to go there today, which we also couldn't because it's hard to get into Hollywood Studios right now. But I think there's availability. I think there's something you and I have to do. In fact,
definitely.
Wouldn't it be fun if we did one of these from there?
From Oga's? Or
yeah,
just from
could we
anywhere
record that, or maybe like a little segment or something? We could just record a little section of it from from Oga's, because I'd like to get your reaction to several things happening there.
Oh yeah, do sort of a tasting.
Like the charcuterie plate is interesting.
There's a charcuterie plate at Oga's Cantina.
It's fantastic. Okay. I love it. It's really good, but it doesn't look like anything you've ever eaten before, which is cool. What's really cool about it?
It's on brand, I think.
And the fuzzy tauntaun.
I've heard things about this, that it has certain physiological effects on people.
It does. It does. It does. And it's fun just to watch people try it for the first time too.
Well, that sounds like something we definitely need to catch on video.
I think that'd be fun. I think it'd be fun. Anyway, I think that the green milk is not good.
I hear that if you're gonna like one, it's gonna be the blue milk. That the green milk, not so much.
Yeah, and the blue milk has this, for me at least, it has this elusive flavor. Like I can't put my finger on it. But there's something compelling about it. So you taste it, and you think, this isn't great, but it's also not bad. I don't know that I'll ever crave this. And then you move on to something else, and then you find yourself coming back to it because you think, what is that flavor?
Now, does it feel like a kind of citrusy kind of flavor, or more like a woody flavor, like a cinnamon or a nutmeg or kind of thing?
More like a berry kind of flavor.
Okay.
And I don't, but not.
It could be a Loganberry. It's a British thing.
I wouldn't know what
I just started watching this show last night, and they mentioned Loganberries. I'd never heard of them before, but they're apparently.
Oh, I've heard of them. I just don't know that I've ever had one.
Oh, look, Mister, I've heard of Loganberries over there.
You sure that wasn't somebody's like a character's name?
No, they actually talked about Loganberries, and I was like, I have never heard of Loganberries before.
Oh, I've heard of them. Just like Marionberries. I've seen them before, but like
Marionberries, yeah.
Not to be confused with the DC mayor.
With Marion Barry.
Yeah. I remember the first time I encountered Marion.
I've tasted a good jam made out of Barry Gibbs. Those are real good.
Don't bring the Bee Gees back into this. It's just mean. I was listening to it wasn't intentional. I had my ultra happy playlist going, and I was listening. So my favorite song ever came on just before I just before I pulled up here today, and
Enter Sandman.
no, that is good, but it was actually it's Fantasy by Earth, Wind and Fire.
Oh yeah.
Best song ever. In fact,
Very good song.
Desert Island question. I don't know. Have we talked about this? I think maybe our first episode we talked about music. Did we talk about this?
Well, yeah, we talked a good bit about it. Then.
Yeah, and that if I was stranded on a desert island and could only have one album, it would be Earth, Wind and Fire's greatest hits, for sure, without any doubt.
Would you have something to play it on? I would assume.
Well, I assume. I mean, like
you could get the professor to rig you up something.
Sounds like coconut based. Tastes just like blue milk. It's all good.
Blue Milk. That's not a bad. That sounds like a Frank Zappa album.
Blue Milk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Came right after Peaches and Regalia.
I don't know. I honestly now don't know what made me think of Earth, Wind and Fire.
I don't either, but it's interesting. So Blue Milk, yeah. And you know what? I love me some Earth, Wind and Fire.
I can't explain how the brain works. It just does.
Well, you were talking about listening to your happy playlist.
Oh yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. It made me think. I don't know. It made me think of Earth, Wind and Fire is what I thought about.
Well, that sounds like it's a good drink then, if it makes you think of Earth, Wind and Fire. Unless it actually makes you think of Earth, Wind, and Fire. Then that's a little different.
Oh, that would be a fun flight, wouldn't it? Like if you had like Earth, Wind, and Fire. Oh, that would be good.
Huh. So it would be like a...
Or what if you layered it like kind of like a black and tan kind of thing? Like what if you like...
oh, yeah. Like some fireball or something at the bottom. That would be your fire.
Yeah. Like it would have to be... layered properly and then
aftershock.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, somebody surely has come up with this. If not, we must create the Earth, Wind, and Fire.
You mean somebody may have parallelly evolved it?
That's right. It's ours would not be derivative of theirs. Ours is coming directly from the band, which is coming from the elements of old.
Right.
And there's still no water, though.
It's still derivative to a certain extent.
Oh, hey, what isn't, right?
I don't know. I think that the green milk is from the alien creatures that Luke was milking in Last Jedi,
yeah.
I think that just makes it nasty to begin with, and
true
because it was
probably the blue milk is clearly a Tatooine thing because that was there in A New Hope,
right?
The green milk, I guess, is from what we're going to loosely call a movie.
Big Ryan Johnson fan, are you?
Yeah, Ryan Johnson, who we will also loosely refer to as a director. And which isn't to say that Ryan Johnson's a bad director. He is not. Knives Out was a fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that it was his doing, but it was.
But
I mean, you assemble that kind of cast, and it's like,
oh, Lord have mercy.
Can you just like say, do your thing?
Yeah, I mean, the art direction and stuff was also really excellent.
Okay,
that would be more his thing. But yeah, the cast was just astounding.
Yeah,
and who saw Daniel Craig coming with that accent? Daniel Craig,
Not
James
me.
Bond with a Southern accent, and somehow it was delightful, and it was.
It was good. Yeah, it was good. I think I remember somebody. I think Michael Caine in an interview once said that that doing a Southern accent, like a American South accent, was easier for like British speak like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they don't believe that they have an accent, See,
right?
Mother
I can
tongue.
see how that would be. It would certainly be easier because it's easier to do like Scottish than it is to do Londoner, because there's so much going on it, and it's so blown out that it's almost easier to do because of that. Same way with Southern versus, say, I don't know, Mid-Atlantic.
So I was so going back to an old episode, and speaking of British people, I was privately, but now I'll publicly disclose it, I was sort of privately shamed and schooled by one of our listener friends, Claire, if you're listening, because she after hearing the episode of my Craig debacle,
yes, yeah,
she said the whole thing would be avoidable if I pronounced it correctly.
Pronounced what, Craig? Mm-hmm. Is it Craig? Is that how you pronounce it?
Well, so here's the thing.
It's kind of up to Craig.
She said that Craig and Greg have distinct.
No,
sounds.
wait a minute. Claire's from the UK, is she not?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Ah, okay.
And so
it is Craig, then.
What?
That's the way they pronounce it, in or something similar to that.
Well, I'm gonna try to find her description here, but yeah, she said it wouldn't have if you actually pronounced them correctly. This would never have happened.
And that's a very British thing to say too. Well, if you would do it correctly.
Right. So, and she said that there's
American way of doing it.
Because you have to say like the two sounds.
Craig.
Yeah, it was like Craig. Oh,
well, I mean, it's all down to how you define those sounds, right? I mean, AI in Japanese, for instance, is I, so it'd be Craig. So I don't know.
I'm trying to find it and I can't find it, so you're just gonna have to accept it. Boy, I don't know where it is. Maybe I deleted it out of anger. I said, you know what? I can't deal with your British properism.
Well, maybe the British people can point to where the F is in lieutenant.
Here it is. Okay, I found it. Okay. So, in fact, she recorded it for me.
Oh, did she?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, maybe I can play it.
Demonstrated it for you. That's awesome.
Yeah. And so this was so I'm going to just read her little message on air. She said, I nearly crashed my car listening and laughing to episode 6 of Accidentally Derivative.
I am both gladdened and saddened.
From the mustard judging to, well, if they drove on the right side of the road, then
that's a good point.
From the mustard judging to the non-Craig incident, honestly, if you pronounce the names of Craig and Greg correctly, of course, the issue wouldn't have arisen. Poor kid. I hope he isn't a listener. And then
your mom would have thought there's something wrong with you.
And then
why are you saying Greg?
And I'm gonna here.
So your question around how should you say them? It's really very simple. They're spelt quite differently, and it should be Craig.
Told you.
And Greg. They're different vowel sounds. And that might have solved the problem, and you wouldn't have had such a traumatic incident in your childhood. Meanwhile, I really enjoyed listening to it. Thank you.
I still don't know Craig. I don't know Craig. Yeah. And I'm like, and I still was a bit incredulous about the whole thing because I don't like, how is it? It's not 2 syllables.
That's true. Well, I mean, to us it isn't, I suppose.
Right.
Well, it's like aluminum is a 4-syllable word for us. For them, it's 5.
But she said, and I said, like, I don't understand. Because she said, I always get confused why Americans pronounce it Craig, like C-R-E-G. And I said, it's like faint, paint, aid, gate, wait. Like the American English we pronounce all those the same, right?
Well, it's all down to dialect, isn't it? I mean.
Well, then she said, I agree that those are all AY sounds. And she said, but Greg is not. It's an E as in shed, like an eh.
Uh-huh.
Bed, fed.
Craig.
And I'm like, what? That's the same thing.
Like I said, this is all down to dialect. I mean, it's just different people from different places pronounce things different ways. I mean,
I know.
This is
this is why we left. If anyone's ever wondering over there, like, it wasn't about religious freedom.
Right.
It was about linguistic freedom.
Like, hey, if we want to say Craig.
Freedom from judgment.
Craig.
Freedom from judgment.
There's no F in lieutenant. There is a C in schedule.
And now we've just lost the entire country. Oh, that's how it goes sometimes. That's how the cookie
It's a leisure suit.
crumbles.
A leisure suit.
Or should I say that's how the biscuit crumbles.
That is how the biscuit pollywops. Or whatever.
Yeah, that's what happened.
The bottom line, Captain Crunch will tear up your mouth.
It will tear up your mouth. Well, this was fun, this morning thing.
Yeah, it was different.
Yeah, now I'm going to go have some cereal.
All right. I already had some. I had some frosted mini wheats.
No. That also will cut if you eat them dry.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, if you eat them dry, you will become dry. That you will, like, turn into freeze-dried flavor crystals.
But they're good. They also are one of those where you have to catch it at the right moment. It's a little
that's very true.
It's a little longer for it to soften, but then it's a slippery slope.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're cooking chicken, right? It's chicken is too raw, it'll kill you, it'll kill you, it'll kill you, it'll kill you. It's perfect. It's too dry, it's too dry, it's too dry, it's too dry.